You're listening to Current Culture, the culture criticism podcast brought to you by the Long Beach Current. This is Season 1, Episode 3, and today we're talking about Drama, a new A24 film released on April 3rd.
I'm Christian.
And I'm Hansa.
And I'm Alexis. Don't change the channel because we got so much to say, and we're starting with a trailer.
Alright, so before we got married, we did this thing where we said the worst thing we've ever done.
Okay. I'll tell mine if we all do it. Promise?
What did you do?
This dog.
Beer bottles and porn.
You left him there overnight.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing I've ever done.
Okay, Are you serious?
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna order an Uber.
Emma, what the?
Now that you've seen a bit of a trailer, be warned that during this podcast, we will be entering spoiler territory for this film. If you care about spoilers, or if you find discussion of violence disturbing, feel free to skip this episode or come back later. All right, guys. Are we ready?
Yes. Initial thoughts on the movie?
I personally loved it. I think that the whole intent of the movie was also really good because when it comes to school shootings and everything, I feel like it had to be said one way or another, and this was a great way of saying it. And just, yeah, I loved it.
I feel like A24 is constantly surprising me. My mom took me to see Uncut Gems in theaters in 2019 because she was super excited to see a new Adam Sandler movie.
Mhm.
If you've seen Uncut Gems, you know that it's not a standard Adam Sandler movie, and you can understand why she came out of the theater shocked and slightly disturbed. And I feel like a lot of people came out of this movie with the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I love A24. I think they're a really interesting studio doing very interesting things. They're really pushing boundaries a lot, which I appreciate. Although this one, I wonder if it went too far. The titular drama is, as Rahansa mentioned, about school shooting, which is kind of a tough topic. However, I think it's important to talk about tough things. So it's a bit of a you win some, you lose some.
I think A24 has found its bearings pushing limits to the chagrin of a lot of moviegoers. Think about the 2024 release of Baby Girl, which came with a lot of backlash, or Priscilla. I don't know if you saw that movie, but some people were not very happy about that one.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Ari Aster in case, for those of you who don't know, he was one of the people who produced the drama.
Okay.
And he also did a bunch of films talking about like the political aspects, and he brings up a lot of ethical and moral dilemmas throughout the films. And some films, which you may or may not know, are Midsommar and Hereditary.
And he wrote and directed both of them.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
So I find that interesting. I think for me, I knew that for me it was going to be a hit or miss because I watched The Materialist, and me personally did not like the movie. So I wasn't expecting a lot coming from it, but I'm happy with what happened.
You know what I'd love to talk about is the actual promotional material for this film. Because I think now that we've seen the movie, it was a rough movie. It was about tough material, but it was somewhat comedic. And I think the trailers only showed that comedic aspect.
I feel like the trailers were alluding to a darker aspect of this movie, though. And if you see like the sequence of the three posters that were released, the third poster is the one where Robert Pattinson, who is Charlie in the movie, is all bloodied. So I knew that this wasn't going to be a typical rom-com, but I thought the promotion was really interesting. And I actually have a list in my notes of different promotional things they did for this movie.
Ooh, let's hear them.
So they did a wedding announcement for Charlie and Emma. That was published in the Boston Globe. We had a wedding invitation and registry website at charlieandemmaforever.com. And on Saturday, March 14th, they hosted a real weddings in a chapel on the Las Vegas Strip, promising a ceremony on the website that is, quote, feels spontaneous, glamorous, and just a little bit dangerous on their second website, thedramaweddingchapel.com.
Oh my God, they did a lot for this movie.
They really did. And I'm happy with what they did because it really brought like the viewers or anyone who has not heard about the movie, it brought them to watch it because I like watching movies, obviously, but
Mhm.
I don't usually go out to watch it. So the fact that this one made me want to go out and watch it, it hit me, and I like it. So
People will sit for a Zendaya movie.
Yeah, they
Yes.
will. I mean, like meta, but like we were just so excited to see this.
Yeah.
Like it was such an interesting promotional thing, which I love A24 because they always are just a little weird with how they promote things. But this one was just like almost purely comedic, which I think was would you agree would you disagree with, of course. But yeah, I think it's interesting that like the promotional material actively chose not to talk about the main subject matter. Do you think it's important that they did that or that they should have covered it?
I think it's tough when the marketing and the main plot device of your movie is a secret.
Yeah.
And I really don't know how they could have. I feel like there was an allusion to something darker, but I was not expecting going into the movie and seeing that.
No.
And I can totally understand why it upset so many people and why people felt like there deserved to be a trigger warning.
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
I think going into it, I knew something. With it's an A24 film, so
Mhm.
I obviously knew something was gonna happen, but I wasn't thinking it was. I didn't think that it was gonna go this deep into like society and how we kind of view it. I'm shocked with how it came out, and I think it was good, like how they executed it and everything.
Yeah, I think they were really tasteful with it. However, there were some scenes that I think were intelligent, but like a little mean spirited by the movie makers. I think one of my best examples is when they go to the wedding photographer and she just keeps saying, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot your grandma. Oh, I'm gonna shoot your dad. Oh, I'm gonna shoot your uncle," talking about photos, of course, but alluding to what we know.
Yeah. And I think the sound design also kind of went on top of that. You could hear the camera shutter turned up, and there was a lot of boom, boom,
Mhm.
boom. And let us not mention that DJ scene.
Oh my goodness. They keep trying to mess with us. And I find that is what makes it so interesting, that I feel like I'm playing along with the director and the movie makers of this film.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like how they executed the tiny comedic bits,
Mhm.
especially as a photographer. It really is hard to like word it and be like, oh, I shot some people at a game. Oh, should not say that. And then like it's hard to actually reword it. So I enjoyed how they put it into the film
Mhm.
while also bringing up so many important things about, today's.
I mean, yeah, there were just so many aspects where I feel like they were trying to mess with us. Like we talked about it earlier. There was a scene of fake foreshadowing,
Mm-hmm. What if?
like a what if where the wedding ends up being like a mass shooting, but that does not happen by the end, as we know. So it's really interesting that they're playing with us with foreshadowing as well. They're messing with you the whole time.
You know what? I have this written down because I feel like a lot of people, when they watch this movie, didn't take into account how unreliable the narrators are. By the end of the movie, for me, it was hard to trust anything that I could see. There was a lot of what ifs, like that scene you mentioned. Or think about when Charlie was fabricating that Emma witnessed her friend die in a car crash.
Yeah.
And it cuts to that scene of young Emma, and that simply didn't happen. And Emma in the movie confirmed that did not exist. So that had me question everything, every aspect of this movie. And I think that was the director's intention.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I know if you guys remember, but I brought this up for a quick second. But I don't in the movie, you know the scene where she's holding or she has her hand up with Charlie, but then it shows her with a gun.
Oh, yes, because the promotional material is very much like,
It's like very happy, smiley, oh, look at my ring. But then in the movie, it shows that
Finger gun.
it was a finger gun.
Yeah.
But if anything, it was just Charlie imagining it. So I feel like that detail is very important in this.
No, I love how unreliable they are. Like you said, Alexis, and that's the perfect example. Do you think in the movie, in the realm of the movie, what was the real photo? Was she showing off her ring, or was she really just being like, and showing off a finger gun?
I think it was the ring.
Really?
because like if anything, okay, if you were to have a picture like that up, I feel like it'd be like a one of the wedding invites. Be like, hey, look at my ring. Like that would be one really good photo to use. But again, it could be of the finger gun.
Alexis?
It could really be 50-50 for me, and that's what I think makes this movie so interesting. But I have a secondary question of a what if. Was the DJ actually smoking heroin on the street?
Oh, yes. So we disagree about this because I think that she really was. I think she was really smoking heroin. I think that's when they were in a moment of clarity because that also happened before they got drunk and they played their game.
Yeah, I agree with Christian. I feel like they really were smoking heroin and everything, but yeah, I feel like it just kind of shows more what of the people Charlie and Emma were before everything. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Alexis, what do you believe?
The way that the DJ was defending herself, I believed it.
You're also just kinder, I think. Maybe you just believe and and we just don't.
Yeah.
You know what I really wanted to say was you guys know how much I like surrealism.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this movie did it very tastefully. One of my favorite scenes is seemingly inconsequential. It's the one where Zendaya is wearing a white dress
Mm-hmm.
and she's eating a dinner with Robert Pattinson. And blood just starts to drip from her ear and stain the white dress. And he looks at her just like in complete shock, but does not do anything. I think that's so beautiful and so telling. And that for me is the most foreshadowing in the movie.
The shots were very intentional, and think of the first scene of the movie. It's a cut to the side of Zendaya's ear.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in the theater being like, okay, but
It's important.
It's all important.
Yeah, no, I agree. I really love that shot. It shows what Charlie sees in his eyes. And I think it's really important to bring back to, especially if you've trusted someone with like that kind of information and they react to it in that way. It's just it's really telling. I'll say.
Yeah. You know what's rough about this film though is I can put myself in both of their shoes. I honestly can, because I think this movie was made for the overthinker. I think this movie was made for someone to be like, oh my gosh, although my partner may not have done something as crazy as, say, a mass shooting, they have a past that I don't always know. And what, to me, is my limit? And at the same time, if I tell you something that I've done bad, do I have to tell you in fear that you won't like me anymore? It's really hard to think about. What do you guys think?
Well, Christopher Borgli, the director, said in an interview that he was just trying to discuss the personal limits. This is exploring your own personal limits with your partner. And this had me really reevaluate what I thought about this, especially when you see characters in this movie who pass judgment onto Emma for what she shares, but they themselves have also done something that is very horrible.
Right.
And so I think it's trying to point out that double standard.
I think, again, I feel like I can see both sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm more on Emma's side because it shows that in the past you can have some thoughts that aren't, good, obviously.
Right.
But you can still change into a different person and be your own self. Like you can have a troubled past. You can have that while also learning how to fix that now and be a different person. Like in this case, Emma we all know what happened to Emma, right?
Right.
But then she learned from that and she became an activist.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she's able to move on from it and be her own different person, I feel like that shows that, yes, you can have a troubled past, but also move apart from it.
You know what's hard for me to wrap my head around, though, is the fact that if I were in Robert Pattinson's shoes, Charlie in the movie, my partner has been lying to me up until this point because he asked her originally, because Emma's character is deaf, and that's very important in the film. But we find out halfway through the film that was due to gun violence.
Mm-hmm.
And that means Robert Pattinson is also finding that out halfway through a relationship with this person. And I think, in a way, that's a large lie.
Mm-hmm. The deafness in her one ear contributed to the meet cute that they had at the beginning of the movie. It's the
Yeah.
basis for the speech that he was going to give at the wedding. It's the basis for their whole relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you see or what you mean by that, because it kind of shows that the foundation of like what the relationship was built by, it kind of was like built on a lie. So I see what you mean by that.
Should we get into some audios?
Let's do it.
All
Who would like
right.
to go first?
You go first, Christian.
Okay, so this next audio clip is from Lila, who recently saw the movie and has some interesting thoughts about it. Let's listen.
Hi, my name's Lila Windsor, and I'm a communications major and a freshman. I really enjoyed the drama. I thought the script was like really layered, so funny, but at the same time, so dark. Like, I've never been in a cinema where people have been like gasping out loud. What I found most interesting was the scene where Emma, Charlie, and then their friends were sharing their worst moments. Rachel shares this story about how she locks a boy in a closet who she describes as slow, which then leads to a search party, and she never shares that it's her who's locked this boy in this closet. When Emma then shares her story about planning a shooting, Rachel seems the most horrified out of the group and kind of takes the lead in being the most offended. I found this character so interesting because it made me think about the type of people that we think are forgivable and then who we don't think is forgivable. Because when we look at both situations, although Emma's plan was awful and horrific, it feels weird to me that Rachel places herself in this morally superior position where she's the one who has to right the wrongs and criticize Emma the most. And then I was also wondering, do you guys think that Emma's confession could be interpreted differently by audiences who aren't from the US and don't have a common understanding of this topic? And then do you think that it may affect who viewers think is more forgivable? Thank you.
Thank you, Lila, so much for your audio clip. Let's get into it.
I really liked what Lila said about how audiences out of the United States might interpret this.
Mm-hmm.
And we see this in the movie. Charlie is speaking to his best man, Mike, who's played by Mamadou Athie, and they're talking about, well, maybe this is just an American thing.
Yeah. It's part of the culture almost. We understand it to a grotesque degree. And not that it's normal, but it has been somewhat normalized, which is terrible.
Yeah, I agree. I never thought of it like that. If anything, I never thought of Charlie's perspective being different compared to Emma's and everyone else's. Because again, assuming he was from the UK because his accent was still there, it kind of shows why he was more shocked with the news compared to everyone else. I feel like everyone else was pretty shocked, but he obviously was questioning the whole wedding and doing all that. So I never thought of it like that. So
I also really appreciate Lila's commentary on the character of Rachel, because I think it's true that Rachel does a terrible thing, but it's almost brushed aside by other facts when I think that happens all too often, when sometimes it's like, we are both terrible. Why are you now morally superior?
exactly. Okay, this is kind of a side thing, but this has stuff to do with Rachel. But I don't know if you guys know, but in the scene where the scene where Charlie is leaving Rachel's office, she says, I'm having lunch with my cousin Sam,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to make sure that she's okay with me still going to the wedding.
Because Sam had been in a shooting.
Exactly. Sam had been in a shooting. So based off of that, and we see the next time we see Rachel, she's at the wedding. So assuming that Sam said yes, Rachel is still acting as if Emma actually did do it. And I feel like everything is kind of not really performative in a way, as in even assuming that Sam said, oh, it's okay, it is what it is. The fact that Rachel is still hating her for it, it kind of makes me feel a little upset with that, you know?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely. Should we get into our second audio?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
All right. I want to give a shout out to Val, who is a social media assistant at The Current. Val went and saw the drama literally 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
She stepped into the theater and she has a pressing question for us. Are we ready?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Valentina Villarreal. I'm at the LB Current as a social media assistant. My question for you guys is if you felt any empathy for Emma by the end of the movie.
Nice and clean.
All right. What I'm going to say is any empathy? Yes, of course.
Yeah, if anything, I agree. I feel like Emma, she has been through a dark past, and she has also turned it around and made it better for herself and and it was
Actively?
yes. And she was an activist for those who were in school shootings, and I feel like if anything, I'm on Emma's side with this, even though she did, play a part.
Yeah, I feel a lot of empathy for Emma because I find it really important that she did not do what she thought. On the other hand, Rachel did a bad act. So is it valid to put such heavy morality on a thought? Because nothing happened, but it was a bad thought. So I think it's unfair sometimes to criticize someone for a thought, but also there's a very fine line there.
Talking about Emma's character, I want to bring something up.
Okay.
I was reviewing a lot of the reviews from other publications about the drama, and Aisha Harris, for her review for NPR, her point in her review was, although the critique of America's obsession with gun violence is sharp at points, the movie struggles to dig deeper into an exploration of Zendaya's character contextualized through the identity as a Black actress. Harris says, quote, statistically and culturally speaking, that's white boy behavior. And, quote, Zendaya's part, is frustratingly restrained and misaligned with the bold concept that the movie presents. And I read that and I slightly agreed. I felt like Zendaya's character could have been way more fleshed out. And the ending of the movie I was not super satisfied with.
No.
And Justin Chang in The New Yorker, his review raised a question that kind of echoed my sentiment, which was, quote, does the movie itself know who she is? And I feel that in a way it doesn't super get into Emma's character, her goals, her aspirations, what's motivating her now. We learn a lot about what motivated her in the past to do better. But we barely even find out what she does for a job. It just felt like it needed a little bit more time to be fleshed out, maybe a longer movie. Zendaya's character just felt a little bit reduced to me.
I can see where you're coming from. I feel like the movie does an attempt to touch on this because there is that scene with the children where they're talking and they're like, oh, it was probably just some guy. And Zendaya's child character, she brings up the fact that, well, no, women can do this. And it's odd because there's like a sense of just like patriarchy there.
Mm-hmm.
But like they're trying to show that like everyone goes through struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always a racial or sexual or gendered thing, but it's like there are these statistics. So at what point are we creating caricatures of people?
And I like that point.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like the ending was also pretty, not rushed, but to me, I would like it to be a little bit longer, especially with it being so short. I feel like also the reenactment of how they first like met each other, I feel like that was just
The can we start over?
the can we start over?
I don't like that bit. They did it at some other point in the movie, and I just think it's like a coverall. It's not helping anyone. I think they need to talk about it, and they're avoiding it for no apparent reason.
Exactly. I think if in order to get through something, you have to talk about it. So the fact that they just kind of jumped over it and just said, "Can we just start over?" Like, I feel like more should have been said. So
Forgetting is different than moving forward.
exactly. Yeah.
Rahansa, you ready for our last audio clip?
Yes. So the next audio clip is from our very own news editor, Annette.
Hi, I'm Annette. I'm a fourth-year journalism major. I really enjoyed the drama. I thought it was really interesting at times uncomfortable. I didn't really expect going in that that's what it was going to be about. So I thought that was interesting. After the movie was over, I kind of like had to sit with my thoughts, but also like take a deeper look into maybe like American culture in general and kind of look into like, are we able to move past things, especially something like a mass shooting? I think it was wrong for Rachel to attack Emma's character when Rachel did something bad and Emma just thought about it. I really want to see what your guys' take is on being able to move past things, or what's your line? What would your partner have to do for you not to marry? Like, is that something that you wouldn't marry your partner for?
Okay.
Thank you, Annette.
Thank you, Ned.
Yeah. Return of the Rachel. Honestly, this character just seems to make everybody mad.
Incredible performance by Alana Haim.
Yeah, incredible.
Can I just say, I struggle with names. I can't even remember Emma or Charlie's name, but Rachel, I remember. Rachel, I remember.
I remember you, Rachel. Yeah, I think Annette makes a good point, of course, about the American culture, which we covered with Lila's audio clip as well. It's insane that we're all so critically aware of something so malicious, but it's in our blood. And at some point, that wasn't the truth, and now it is. Some people grew up not having to think about it, and now we do. So it's like, it's discussed in an art form. Is that good or bad? It's hard.
I think that A24 has pushed the limits of filmmaking to make incredible films that have had a really big impact on how I view film as a whole. Think of Lady Bird, think of Midsommar, think of Love Lies Bleeding, shout out, and I saw the TV Glow. But we've also seen suspect choices from A24, let's be honest. I don't know if you guys followed The Brutalist, but that came under fire because there was AI enhancement of Hungarian accents and using AI to create visuals. So, I don't know. A24 is
You're
making
pushing
choices
boundaries.
for sure.
Yeah, you're pushing boundaries. Is it a good thing?
Yeah. Can I bring back one of Annette's questions for you guys?
For sure.
Yes.
What's the line that you guys would cross? Or what's a line
A boundary?
A boundary. What's a boundary for you?
I think there are a lot of things that I currently believe to be a boundary, but also I think boundaries are always a conversation. So I think in the instance of Charlie and Emma, it's hard for me to pick a clear stance. I don't think I'd be able to just break up with Emma. I think if I'm dating someone and I really get to know you and I can see growth and I believe there is growth, then I may be able to get over something you've done in your past. But at the same time, would you be able to get over something I did in my past? It speaks to a grace and understanding between two people. And it's just such a hard dance to dance.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like a lot of things now are people, for me, I think as long as you're able to show that you've changed into like a better person, I feel like that would be good enough. Although I would have to question how much you've changed. But yeah. What about you, Alexis?
I think it's really a conversation. And I think this kind of dilemma gets brought up in the drama. You see Zendaya's character, Emma. She makes this mistake in the past. She changes her mind. She realizes the severity of what she was thinking about doing. She becomes an advocate against the thing that she fell for.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Charlie's character who is reeling from finding this out and then is freaking out so bad that he's trying to cheat.
Which was an insane scene.
Not a past choice.
No, it's
That's
a current
choice.
Ugh, it's terrible.
I feel like it really distinguishes what someone can do, like the bad things you could do then and the bad things you could do now. And I like how they brought it up in this case. And yeah.
You ready to move on to ins and outs, people?
Let's do it.
All right. Who's going to start us off?
I can start with my in, and I'll keep my hand over the crickets because I feel like you guys are going to disagree with me.
Oh, that's right. We have new sound bites. We are so excited to use them.
We're so excited to be in this new studio. Okay, my in, a 3-hour movie.
Hit the button. Hey, hit that button. Right.
Okay. I will agree and also disagree with you on this because I feel like there are some stuff that needs more than 2 hours. However, 3 hours, I need a break. Like sometimes I love the 3 hours, but I do need a break.
I wanted this movie to be 3 hours.
I did want this movie to be 3 hours too. So
It's hard. I think I'm going to give this movie a pass, but I hate anything long-winded. I love brevity. So I think, I think this movie gets the rare exception that it could be 3 hours. Maybe we can do 2.5.
Did you watch Killers of the Flower Moon?
I didn't know.
That's a breezy 3 hours, and I wish it was longer. And I will be sat for Christopher Nolan's Odyssey movie that will be 3 hours.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
you're gonna have the time of your life with that one.
Okay, we'll see if they make if we cover it.
Okay, Christian, what's your in?
My in.
Oh, had to flip the notebook.
Okay. My in is eccentric outfits for no apparent reason. I
Hit the good button.
Thank you. Eccentric outfits for no apparent reason.
Yes.
I think that white dress in the surrealism scene spoke to me because it also was in a way a wedding dress. He was visiting and envisioning a wife tainted, and I was just like, damn.
So were you enjoying La Roche's styling of Zendaya for this press tour? Because I have.
Something old, something
my
new,
God.
something borrowed, something blue. Oh, I was always there. I was so excited.
We were watching. We were peeping out that window.
La Roche is very inspirational, and he put thought into that press tour, and they put thought into the outfits of the movie. And I like that they're eccentric for something that doesn't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving you an excuse to look at the clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Ranza?
I agree. Oh wait, my in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, let's get ready.
Yeah.
Guys, my in, as we all know, or those of you who don't know, we have been filming in the library.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is true.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
The basement.
Which
Yeah. Well,
the basement.
Hold on.
We have been filming, unfortunately, in the basement of the library. Where we did do the fire alarm bit, unfortunately. That's a different story. However, for those of you who are seeing us now, we are now in our very own podcast room.
Yay!
Shout out to our very own editor, Gianna. Yay!
Let's clap. Let's clap for Gianna.
Yay!
Yeah, we love this. We love the new stew. Shout out JPR and Barb and Greg and everyone else who made this happen. Thank you guys very much. We're blessed to be here.
Thank you, Gianna.
Also, shout out for because she also has not seen the movie, so she was getting spoilers.
Yeah, she had to go through all of that without seeing the movie.
So if you ever see either of us laughing, that's because of Gianna.
Yeah, big win. Let's hit it again.
Yay! Clap.
Oh,
clap.
sorry.
Yay!
Should we start with our outs?
Yes.
Okay, I have a very uncontroversial out.
Okay.
Throwing up. Why were they making Zendaya throw up so much in this movie?
Oh, I hated it. And now I'm going to have to think of a new out because that was literally mine. I'm so serious.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to think of a new out because literally they vomit 4 times.
Yeah, why?
Agreed.
That's the most disgusting thing in a movie. Oh, it's so unnecessary. Okay.
No, I agree with you guys. However, my out was completely different. I said La Boo Boos.
Hit it. Ranza. And we're back with our random. We're back
Yeah,
with our-
true.
Like, you know what? And I'm going to disagree. I think, no, I think Lil Boo Boo should come back. They're weird. I think little things like that are weird. Like a fuggler, bring it back.
Fugglers are cute. However, La Boo Boos, they look like they're staring at you. And like they're trying to kill you in your sleep. They're
And what if I
going
like that? Right. Be respectful.
Hey, so I don't think that's.
Christian, are you ready to come up with an out on the spot?
I'm going to have to. I think out fighting in a movie. Now, let me be serious. I'm going to say out because I think the blood on Robert Pattinson walking into that diner was insane. And I think a simple headbutt, I don't know if that would do it.
Ladies, I think we finished. Thank you all for listening, and a special thank you to our editor, Gianna Echeverria. She's sitting right over there. Thank you so much,
Thank
Gianna.
you. First time on the pod, she showed her face.
And our producer, Dante Estrada. Follow our stories on lbcurrent.com and at lbcurrent on Instagram for more current culture. And please, please tune in next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.